Hello, Chiquis!
And welcome to Chatty Amigas! Podcast where two friends approach everyday problems and find practical solutions.
We are your hosts. I'm Muffin.
And I'm Ella. Do you know what you want from life? Let's unpack everything. Let's go deep here.
No.
Oh, I hate this question, but it's a no. Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? I hate that question so much. Do you love that question? I hate that question. When you go for job interviews, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Hopefully making money. Can we move on?
Getting older. Surviving this world. That's where I see myself in 5 years.
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to have for dinner tomorrow. Like, how am I supposed to know what I'm going to do in 5 years?
No way.
Wait, what did you say? Elifies? What?
Survive.
Oh yeah.
I just said survive. Just that's all I want. Just be alive.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? What do you regret? That one's a deep one. And what makes you proud of yourself? Which I think sometimes can be very hard to answer. But these are important questions. I feel. Yeah.
Those are very, very deep. So today we will be spilling the tea on finding yourself.
All right, so let's dive into this very deep topic. We're going to be deep today, but hopefully fun.
I know.
What was it from that show? Was it deep but upbeat?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
You ever see How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
Oh no? Man, I feel like I have, but I don't remember.
When they're doing like these articles, they were like serious. And they're like, but keep it upbeat. And they're like, okay.
I'm going to have to go watch it now.
Go watch it. So, finding yourself. Have you ever thought, like, what exactly do you want from life? And maybe you've taken this first step towards self-discovery, but can't uncover a path towards achieving your main goals. Dreams, personal values, talents, even your personality traits may not always seem to matter much in the rush of daily life, but awareness of these characteristics can give you plenty of insight into your inner self. I feel that after pandemic, when pandemic happened, a lot of people were forced to face these, I'm going to say demons for the lack of words, because you have to now like sit there and be like, oh my God, you know, did I do what I want? Like, why didn't I do this? You know, things that I'm unhappy with this. Like, why am I unhappy with this? Like, how can I fix this? I don't want to be unhappy. And I think that's why a lot of people like changed jobs, moved homes, because you had to forcefully look in the mirror and like face it instead of being so occupied with other things, so you don't have to deal with it. Day-to-day priorities are important, but a life that's nothing more than a series of going through the same motions usually doesn't provide much enjoyment. Which is kind of sad. If you reached a point in life where you find yourself asking, who am I really? Some self-discovery can help you to get to know yourself a little better. It might sound like a huge, intimidating concept, but it's really just a process of A, examining your life, B, figuring out what's missing, and C, taking steps toward fulfillment. It's not as terrifying. Like, it's just, if you go to the park and you're like, I'm unhappy about something, I don't know what it is, ponder about it, think like, what is making me unhappy? Like, negativity. I don't like that I'm having negative influences. Okay, so what is creating those negative influences? I do have this one friend of mine that's not really a friend, but she always wants to talk to me and vent about how negative her life is. But like, she's never there when I'm having a bad day. So what I'm going to do about it? And then you take the proper precautions in how to deal with it. Maybe you need to tell her, hey, I've noticed this about our friendship. It's overwhelming, or I feel like I don't really have your support. Or maybe it's just to cut off this person completely. I don't know. You know, we have friendship breakups for that. If you want to hear that episode.
I was thinking, what was the name of that podcast?
Friendship breakups.
That's right.
So, you know, that's what it means. You don't have to sit there like the philosophers of back in the day and just go on the mountain of like Athens and be like, what is my life?
What is the meaning of life?
To be or not to be? That's Shakespeare, but whatever. You don't have to necessarily do that. But
Your accent when you did that was funny.
Was it? Thanks.
Yeah, you did like was
Thanks.
It was Hannah.
Thank you. There's no better time for self-exploration than the present. So now we're gonna share with you some tips that I feel help a lot. I did this. I went through a time in my life where I was like, I'm done. I'm done having weird people around me. It's me. I'm the one attracting them. So I have family.
It's not you, it's me.
It definitely was me. Like, because if you keep attracting the same people over and over and over and over again, at one point you kind of have to realize it's not them, it's you, right?
Yep.
So I have family that live in Portugal. So I had the luxury, because I didn't have a full-time job, that I took a month off and I went to Portugal alone.
Nice.
Like I was with my family, but I went to all these beautiful like museums and parks and palaces, and I would go there by myself. I purposely didn't bring my phone. Well, I did for pictures, but I didn't, like, I took it, I put on airplane mode so I wouldn't get, and then you're in a different country. Was WhatsApp a thing? It was, but I kind of like ignored it. I could put it so it wouldn't show anything. And it just went about my life. And I pondered, I cried a lot in these beautiful places.
Good.
I cried a lot, felt my feelings, had a lot of deep conversations with God.
Good.
And then I came back from Europe like, this is what I want. It was the best thing I did. I took a month to myself, a mental day off. I'm also a mental day off, a mental month off, I guess.
Sabbatical.
Yeah, is that what it is? A sabbatical? Did I go on a sabbatical?
You did.
Oh, that's so fancy.
Usually when professors take a year off from teaching, they call it a sabbatical. But like if you take a month off for yourself to heal and do whatever you need to do, I think it's also a sabbatical.
Oh,
you went into
that sounds fancy.
a life bettering trip.
Yeah, that was the intention.
So it's a sabbatical.
When I bought the trip, it was for that. Yep. When I bought the flight. So I also, where not everyone has that luxury, but it can be, an hour a day, go to the park, go take a bubble bath and ponder, or like go away somewhere for the weekend, like alone. I think alone is good, or like, going to therapy, that could be it too. Talk it out. There are ways around it where it doesn't have to be intimidating or overwhelming, but you have to want to do this, or it's not going to work. If you don't want to do it, then I don't know. It's not going to work.
Nobody can help you if you don't want to help yourself.
Correct.
That's the end of it.
Let's go for the tips. Mafe, please start off.
Let's start by visualizing your ideal self. So maybe your life has gone pretty smoothly according to like guidelines like parents, teacher, friends, and others have recommended. If that's the case, you may not have given your true self much thought. Many people end up defining themselves by their relationships with others or the things they've always done, never considering the possibility of anything different. Without a clear idea of the things that matter to you or the person you hope to become, though, you'll continue living for other people instead of yourself. You don't need to begin with a complete picture. Like, after all, your journey is all about discovering what the full picture is. So something you can do is try to ask yourself some things like, what do I want from life? Again, the deep questions. Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? What do I regret? What makes me proud of myself? And little things like that. This type of questions don't have to be something super huge. They could be something small as, like, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Being debt free, for example. Something little. It doesn't have to be like owning a house with a yacht and a partner and like 10 kids, and like having this career. No, it could be something small, like, I want to be healthy and fit, something little. So
I like the being out of debt. That's a really good one.
Yeah, so just having little goals. It's all about progress, not perfection. So you want to make little steps towards whatever you want to become. You don't need to go super deep, like Mela said earlier about like the philosophers and stuff. So the answers to those questions can give you a starting place. If you get stuck, it can help to think back to a time when you felt fulfilled and happy and consider what contributed.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to start off with the small things and then dive into the bigger things. So it could be like how to get out of debt. So do that. Maybe I want to be a little more fit. And like, you know what? I'm not happy with all the friends I have. Let me see what I can do to have better friends in my life. Exactly. Like, it could start from being small to bigger. because you don't want to like do all of them at once, because that's really overwhelming. That's literally like you're gonna be, first of all, I think you're always going to try to do this forever.
Yep.
Because life changes and everyone goes through different phases in life. And then
Exactly.
if you're going to take on the world, you will never see the tunnel at the light at the end of that tunnel. So start small and gradually grow bigger.
Yep.
And then once you're used to doing it, when a big problem approaches, you could put something small you're dealing with on hold and deal with that. So yeah, it I like doing this. I think it's great. I feel I have a lot of inner peace because of it. I don't know. But anyways, so the other thing, explore your passions. Passion help give purpose to life and make it rich and meaningful. Maybe a passion for helping others guided you to the field of medicine, or maybe you're volunteering, right? But your current position in medical billing doesn't quite fulfill your urge to provide compassionate care. Or maybe you have a full-time job and that's not allowing you to be the volunteer that you want. Or maybe the part-time job that you took on is not really part-timey. Like they said you were going to be part-time and now it's like more full-time, therefore you don't have that time to volunteer, right? So living out your passion might involve identifying the job you really want and researching the steps necessary for career change. Or maybe it's exploring ways to volunteer with your skills as a street medic if it's the medical stuff. Or maybe if you want to do some volunteer work, try to enroll without really putting in all that time. Like be like, oh, I want to try this. Let me try to do it without committing first and see how it works with my life. And if you love it, great, adjust accordingly. If you don't, then look for other ways to be of use to society, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep in mind that passions don't always have to be complex or relate to professional interests. Think about what you spend your free time doing on a day-to-day basis. What excites you and brings joy to your life? Even interests like movies and music can offer insight. Taking some time to consider what you enjoy and look forward to most can help you discover ways to enrich your life. And you don't have to do it for the rest of your life either. Like I did singing lessons for 6 months and I quite enjoyed it. I learned a lot. And then I stopped because I'm like, all right, we're done.
Yeah, you're exploring your passions.
Yeah, so you can do it. Doesn't have to be forever. It could be just temporary. I don't know. It's fun. I say go for it.
Yeah, and if anything is you think that it's too small, you always have to go back to the first question, right? Visualizing your ideal self, just because sometimes we do tend to live through other people's point of view, right?
Yeah.
Like because he talks right here about like the medical field, right?
Yeah.
But what if being around sick people is not your go-to? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. It's not your tea. Maybe being a fantastic hairstylist is. Maybe that's what brings you joy.
Yeah, that's helping people.
Cutting people's hair and giving them a different style and color and helping them feel good about themselves. Like that is what this is all about. So that's why you have to first ask yourself the questions and then explore your passions.
Yep.
And along with that, you have to try new things. If you can't name many passions, that's okay. If you haven't done much for yourself in a long time, you may not remember what you used to enjoy. So one good way to begin figuring this out is to do something new and totally different. You won't know what you enjoy until you give it a shot. That is absolutely correct. Maybe you've always had an interest in artistic pursuits, but never attempted anything after, like your college or high school ceramic class. So check your library and other community centers for free or low cost adult learning classes. If you can't get to a class in person, try online tutorials. They may not be quite the same, but they can often teach you enough to know whether you like to continue pursuing the hobby. So, exploring new hobbies, especially the ones you've never tried before, can sometimes feel overwhelming, especially if you go for the more adventurous option. But if you feel nervous, try to think how proud and accomplished you'll feel afterwards. Beyond teaching you more about yourself, taking safe risks may boost your self-esteem.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
Keyword safe. Please. Yeah, I highly agree with the public library thing. Libraries have nice stuff for free. There's a lot of nice things. I highly recommend look into it. If you have kids and you want to know something to do for free, library. Look at their calendars, activities calendars. I haven't seen a boring library yet. Yeah,
especially summertime. They have all kinds of stuff going on the whole summer.
Or you could even Google things to do with my family this summer in X town and X state, and they will pull up. So highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
And then your local college, even if it's like a little community college, over here I think they have pottery classes for like $10. And you go and they give you everything and you take whatever you make. So you can make like a plate or like a cup or whatever. And they teach you, and like it's all painted and pretty because they dip it in whatever.
I have
So
a crazy thought. Like the Native American reservations there, like could you go learn a pottery class there if you really wanted to?
I don't know if they offer that because most of what they've learned, they just pass it along to their own generations.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they have like an outsider,
That
like
would be really cool.
somebody wants to learn their art and they just learn by taking a class. I don't know if that's how it works. It's mostly passed down from generations to their own families.
See, I asked because I think that would be really cool, learning their technique in a reservation and then going to the college and learning their technique and then
There
taking
might
these
be.
two
I have no
artistic
idea.
ways. No, it's just my brain. This is how I think. I'm like, then
Yeah.
I could take those both ways and incorporate to my style, and I would have this thing, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the heck is that?"
Right. And then they might. I
Which
mean, I don't know.
is my pottery ceramic thing. I call it resting upon the spoon, and it incorporates the blah blah techniques of the something tribe.
Oh my
plus
gosh.
You're like, that's a knob over here.
Resting on the spoon.
I don't know. Okay.
So
I
it's
think,
funny.
thank
but-
you. So I think go ahead.
No, that's
Habla.
it. No, that's just what I was gonna say. The local community colleges have little things like that for the community. So
That's awesome. I think it's a good time for tea time since we're discussing trying new things, right?
what
do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tea time.
Tea time.
Hey, we're back to high pitch. Nice.
Let's see if that works out nicely.
Tea time. I heard it just perfect.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So tea time is when we answer one question that has been submitted to us by one of our listeners.
And today's question was sent to us by Maria. Thank you, Maria, for sending the question.
Oh, thank you.
Her question: I want to learn a language but suck at it. Any tips? This was a great question. I loved this question because, okay, so first of all, every person has a different learning style. So that's something you have to take into consideration learning a language. And then every person also has a time frame of how fast or slow they work in learning things, especially languages. Depends also what side of your brain is more dominant over the other. It's going to affect if you're better in the mathematics. Languages most likely will be easier for you. Not always the case, but it can happen. And then depending on the age also affects it. If you're 12 and under, believe it or not, it's easier, and the likelihood of you having an accent of your native tongue will be much lower. That's why anyone that comes to America, for example, from other different speaking countries and come here and they learn English after 12, they have a slight accent. It's very normal. That's just how it is. Doesn't mean it's wrong, just means it's different. And yeah, you're one of them, right?
me, I have an accent. That's okay.
How old were you when you came here?
15. I was gonna turn 16 in a few months.
Yes, so not 12.
Not 12.
So it's very normal. It happens.
Yeah.
So you have to be patient with yourself. You have to understand everyone has a different learning style. Don't compare to others. As long as you have this in your head, and then don't say it's hard. The moment you say it's hard, your brain's gonna automatically think it's hard. That's just how it is. I don't like it when teachers say this is hard. Stop telling them that. Like, you're not supposed to say that because then they're gonna give up. Most people give up after that.
Yes.
So don't think like that. You can't. It's a mind thing. It works for real. Don't say you can't do it. Just try and take it from there. So now we're gonna talk about 8 top tips on how to learn a new language. Number 1, set your language goals. It can help with things like motivation, self-esteem, and self-confidence. And goals can help you achieve success. When you're first figuring out how to learn a language, you should focus on some short medium, and then long-term goals. These
Mhm.
can help to give structure and direction to your learning. So for example, if your ultimate long-term goal might be to have an in-depth conversation with a native speaker of your chosen language, however, to get there, you might have a medium-term goal of passing an exam and a short-term goal of learning some specific relevant vocabulary. With this approach, you can start to systematically build your knowledge and tick off your progress. Like, check, oh, what was it? Check, ding, what was it that you do? We
Ding
forgot.
done,
Okay.
right?
Ding, done. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Whatever.
Done. I don't know. No, boop done. Boop
That was
done.
it.
It
That's
was
it.
boop
So you
done.
tick off. So adding time skills to your language learning goals can help to keep you on track and motivated.
Yes. The next one is to learn common vocabulary. According to some studies, native speakers know roughly 15,000 to 20,000 word families. And by that, they mean a root word and its variant. So for example, speak, speaking, spoke, etc. This study suggests that by learning the most common 800 to 1,000 root words and variations, you can learn to speak a language quickly and effectively. So when you're wrestling with how to learn a language, a useful place to start is by learning some common vocabulary. This can help to quickly build your understanding in a day-to-day setting, allowing you to have and follow basic conversations. Of course, grammar and structure will also need attention. What's more, 800 to 1,000 root words will only give you a basic grasp. To follow dialogues in movies or TV, you will need about 3,000 root words. For a novel or newspaper, this increases to roughly 8,000.
But it's possible.
It's doable.
Okay,
It's
even the
just-
word impossible says I'm possible. Don't worry, little by little.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, smart. I'm
Really thinking.
possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Number 3, find a style that works for you. There are many different tools, techniques, and styles you can use when learning a language. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming to try and use them all. So just try a few and select the ones that work best for your learning style. Some people like flashcards, grammar translation, spaced repetition, immersive learning. But there's many other options out there to help you. Figuring out the right combination of techniques can help you progress at a rate you're happy with. You'll find all kinds of apps, websites, textbooks, and other materials out there that can help with different methods. So yeah, mix it about, figure it out. I'm more of a hands-on learner personally. Eric speaks a couple languages too, but he's more of like the book studious person. Like he has to read the book, understand the grammar, and then he like can go. I cannot do that for the life of me. I get very confused. My language, I can learn language by everyday language. I start picking it up eventually. Or if there's a language I like I love watching Turkish TV. I have no idea why. So what ends up happening is I sit there and I put the subtitles and eventually start picking up on stuff just by watching TV and reading the
good.
subtitles. I'm like, oh wait, this is this.
That's what that word means. Yeah.
Yeah, and it got to the point where my aunt sent me a YouTube video and they were speaking Turkish and they said to add cinnamon, and I understood add cinnamon, and then there was no subtitles. I was like, oh my god, it worked. So and each
Nice.
person's different. You have to kind of figure out what works for you.
There you go. I'm halfway between both. I like to have the book and read and understand it, but I like to be able to hear it and hear somebody else speak it, or somebody like hands on. So I like to do both, like half and half. I guess my brain is just a little bit of both.
Good.
Anyways, so the next one is to practice speaking. And of course, that's a crucial part of learning a language, being able to recognize and understand and reproduce sounds. For many language learners, concentrating on these first two aspects, as well as vocabulary and grammar, takes priority. However, this can result in a reluctance to practice speaking, which can delay your progress. You don't have to necessarily go out and start chatting with native speakers right away, even though that could most likely help. However, talking to yourself, practicing your vocabulary out loud, and even recording yourself speaking your new language can help to build your confidence.
Yes, and I know we don't like hearing our voices. That's fine. We're not meant to. but it can help. And also, don't be embarrassed by it. No one's expecting you to be a professional native speaker while you're learning. It's kind of like, hi, I want to go to the moon, build me a rocket ship. And you literally never learned anything about rocket ships. It's like the same thing. So, and if someone's gonna laugh at you, laugh at it back. I when I was learning Spanish,
Mhm.
I was trying to communicate with my colleagues, and and I said I was on the phone, but I didn't know how to say phone in Spanish, so I said in Portuguese, which is telefone. And
Mhm.
he looked at me. He's like, "What is that?" He started really being nasty, laughing at me. I'm like, "Oh yeah, how do you say it in Espanol? Huh? How do you say it in Spanish?" And he goes,
Mhm.
"Teléfono." I'm like, "What the heck's a teléfono?" And I started
Mhm.
laughing back. Never made fun of me again. He completely stopped.
Huh.
So do that.
Mm. Well,
¿Qué es eso? What
that
is
was
that?
that was rude of him.
Yeah, sometimes people just don't think about it. They're dumb. And if
No,
you're the person that makes fun of someone learning a language, for the love of God, stop it. Stop being
stop.
jealous.
That is so
Okay?
rude. That's
It's
very
so
rude.
rude. And I
It's
feel like it's low-key
disrespectful.
jealous. Like you're jealous that they're learning languages and you don't know as many. Stop that. Learn another language.
It's very
Be nice.
disrespectful. Yeah. No, I think that's crucial. That's how I started. I started because I was in high school when we first came, and I
Hmm.
started high school right away. So really, I had to learn by being surrounded by English the whole time.
It was a survival. Like you
It
had
was
to learn to
basically
survive.
exactly. It was like you learn or you die. It was survival. I went into survival mode, and I was like, "This is it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it if I don't learn." And I would ask some of my friends because I would need to use the bathroom, and I didn't want them to ask the teacher for me. And I really appreciate one of the girls, and I remember her. I don't know, remember her name though. I feel real bad, but she was so sweet. And I would ask her how to say it. Like, how do I say, like, I need to go to the bathroom. Like, can I use the bathroom? And she said no. And then she would say, give me the sentence.
Yeah.
May I use the restroom? Right? And so then she would repeat it with me
Mhm.
until I got it done, and then I would get up and just go tell the teacher. And then
I
she'd be
did
like,
that with
"Yeah,
some of
go
my
ahead."
colleagues.
And
The
then I
ones I
would
was
just
learning,
go.
the
Yeah.
ones I was learning Spanish from, and I would teach them certain things in English, like, or I had this one person, was it from Russia? I taught them how to say go to the bathroom, like toilet.
Mm-hmm.
May I use the bathroom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was real nice. And then there were some that made fun of me too because of the way I
Smack
pronounced
them.
the number 3, and it stuck with me forever because
Three.
we
Oh,
were in math class. It was algebra, and the teacher was because math is the same all over the world. And I'm like, that's the
yeah.
one thing I know what we're doing. I
It's
don't
so
even need to.
beautiful.
I don't even need to understand the teacher, right? So we were doing
Yeah.
math, and she asked what the answer was, and I
It's a
said
tree.
yes as a tree, like un árbol, right? Like a
Yeah.
tree. And but I must have said 3 like this. I don't know. And then some jerk was laughing, and the teacher was so mad at him. She
Good.
gave him the nastiest look, and then I didn't understand why they were laughing.
Good.
So I had a not a friend, a colleague. No, what do you call it? An associate? Just kidding.
No, it's a colleague, right?
It's
Your
an
colleague.
acquaintance. That's what I'm looking for. An
Oh,
acquaintance. And I asked
like
her.
fellow pupils? Carry on.
And I asked her, like, why is he laughing? Like, because she was giggling too. And I was like, what? And she's like, nothing. I'm like, no, really, like, what happened? And she's like, oh, he's laughing at the way you said 3. And I was like, why? And then I just like, huh. And ever since that, like the whole TH sound, I'm like, 3.
That's
Nice.
good. Some languages, some people can't say the
Th- th-
3.
th- th-
Yeah, it's I think it's the THR that really throws everyone off.
Three.
3. So it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, who cares? As long as we understand you,
Mm.
the English speakers can understand you, it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Good that you can even speak English, because English is one
Barely.
of the most difficult languages in the world. My God, good for you. Let's have a
Barely.
party because you at least said 3. Tree. I can understand.
Well, I gave the answer, and all those dumb kids couldn't even figure it out. You're welcome.
Uh-huh. There we go.
Okay.
So talk about connecting with a native speaker. Go.
No, is it me? No, it's you.
Is it me?
I don't
There you go.
remember.
Connect with a native speaker. Communicating with new people in your target language is often intimidating. You might be scared to make mistakes or feel that your current level isn't good enough, but practicing with a native speaker can help you quickly improve your language skills. As well as working on your pronunciation, you'll also unlock more natural sounding conversational elements, and it will help you with listening skills, as native speakers will often speak at a more natural pace, like a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
There are various tools you can use to connect with native speakers when learning a language. You can meet up with them face to face post-pandemic, online video chat or instant messaging. You can meet people even if you're not in their country. You'll also find that there are also many other courses out there. You just have to look out on the internet, see any that pique your interest that are taught by Native American speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Native American. Oh my God, native speakers.
You did
I
say
mean, if you want,
American.
I did say American, but you know, if you want to learn a Native American language, that's a good way.
Do that too.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, my
Connect.
goodness gracious. I just see native and I automatically, my mind always goes American. I don't know why I do that.
Connect with them. It's so fun. Next one is consume media. To get familiar with the different ways in which people use your target language, you may want to consider watching, reading, and listening to as such media in the language as possible, as much media. You've probably heard how the TV show Friends has helped people as they learn English.
That's true.
As well as teaching colloquial language and gestures. It can also help with things like common words and phrases, expressions, and cultural references. There are also so many mediums you can choose from, whether it's watching TV and movies in your target language, listening to music and radio, or reading the news. You have plenty of options. That's something I did. I would watch English TV and then just put the subtitles in Spanish, or like I would listen to songs and then have the translation in the main lyrics, the translation next to it. So then I would associate words. That's what
I do that with my French. I like to watch stuff in French because I'm losing it since I don't use it as much anymore. Just kind of depressing. When I learned French in school, and then I gave tours of a building in Jersey City. So I gave a lot of tours in French when I worked in the banking industry. I had a lot of people from Haiti that were elderly. The younger generation don't really speak French very much. It's just Creole now. So where I lived there, I had a lot of people from Haiti that were elderly, and I would communicate with them just everyday things in French. I now resort to movies because I don't really, working in my business, you know, where I work now, no one really speaks French. Like at all. So it's like, well,
yeah, have to use it somehow. Yeah.
Number 7, engage with the culture. Understanding the cultures that use the language you're learning is very important in the learning progress, because not only does it provide a solid context for your studies, it also means that you can better connect with native speakers. Language often involves in line with the culture of the groups who speak it. Therefore, to really master a language, you'll want to make sure you're also familiar with the cultural context that goes with it. Highly recommend that. Sometimes their expressions and phrases are because of daily cultural things that happen in their country. If you can't even visit the country, that would be highly recommend. Like,
yeah.
Oh, which is the next one.
Yeah, that's okay. That's number 8, basically. You know, traveling right now, it's a little uncertain, but it won't always be like this. So the best way to put your newly found language skills to the test is to visit some of the places where the language is used. This point brings together many of the others, as the techniques you've used when figuring out how to learn a new language will help you out on your travels. So when you travel, you get the opportunity to see new places, interact with local people, and immerse yourself in the culture. Although it can be daunting at first, you'll soon find your feet. It also gives you the chance to identify any gaps in your knowledge. It means that you can pick up some new phrases and back.
Yeah. So we hope these tips help you, Maria. Thanks again. Great question.
Thank you. And that wraps up the teaching portion for today. Thank you for submitting the question. We really appreciate your support. Just a friendly reminder, Tea Time is officially closed for this season.
All right, going back now. How can you how to find yourself, right? So we were discussing exploring your passions, trying new things. Now we're going to talk about evaluating your skills. Some people have a particular gift, a talent for something, or crafting, home improvement, cooking, etc. As part of the self-discovery process, you might consider taking some time to consider your unique abilities and how you might use them. Maybe your friends always ask you to plan their parties. Maybe your neighbors ask you for gardening tips. If these skills are something you can picture yourself developing, why not put them into use and practice, right? Using your skills owns them, which can increase your confidence. Greater self-confidence means it can encourage you to keep exploring these talents along with any others you might not have noticed before.
That's right. The next one is identify what you value about yourself, your personal values, or the specific qualities you view as the most important and meaningful can tell you a lot about your nature. These values can help you illustrate the life you want to live as well as the behavior you expect from others. So some of the values might include honesty, compassion, loyalty, creativity, courage, intelligence. So clarifying your values can help you make certain you're living them out. If you've never taken the time to explore what principles you find most valuable, making this part of your self-discovery process can have a lot of benefit.
I agree with this 100%. If you want to live an honest life, you need to be around people that are going to try to, incorporate that every day. And that's the thing. You have, when you picking the people around you, you have to pick those that are trying to be good, because sometimes you'll find someone that has like compassion down to a T. Awesome. Then you have another friend that doesn't really have it down, but they're really trying. Like, do you really want to get rid of that person from your life if they're trying? Because
Exactly.
it's nice because then you can compare notes, and the fact that you even have the same values and goals is nice, right? So it's just something to think about. But yeah, I like doing that personally, like incorporating things that are important in my life, certain values, and then like I go through phases of that, right? Like, okay, now I'm going to focus on this quality. Does this person have this quality? What can I do that's fun that incorporates this quality that I like? And it's very nice. Yeah. And with that, asking yourself questions. And this is how you can start. What do I do? The things I do. What drives me? What am I missing? Very important, that question. What kind of impact do my choices have on the life I want? Then you take all these questions to all areas of your life. Don't feel like you need to come up with answers immediately. Self-discovery does take time, and it's most helpful to carefully consider your responses instead of grabbing at the first thing that comes to mind. Highly recommend that, 10 out of 10. Above all, be honest with yourself. If you can't come up with a good answer, that doesn't mean you failed, but it does suggest that some change might help.
Yes. And with that, learning something new, I know we just talked about that during the time, but learning works best when it's treated as a lifelong process. So if you've always wanted to learn more about something in particular, take the time to study it, like books, manuals, online tools can help you quite a bit, especially if you like to develop technical skills or study historical or scientific concepts. There's plenty of apps that can help you get started or learning anything like from meditation to any foreign language. So if you have any interest, look it up. Chances are there's a app or a free website dedicated to it. So in the end, if you choose to take a class or learn from someone in the community or teach yourself the new skill, expanding your knowledge is always a wise move.
And while you're doing all that, keep a journal. If you keep a journal when you were a younger person, you might remember how it helped you explore your dreams and emotions. Maybe you still do that. I don't know. Picking up that habit of journaling or blogging, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, it's writing down what's happening and exploring your emotions and discussing your dreams. It can help you get back in touch with yourself and learn more about the person you've become. It can help with self-reflection, but it can also serve as a more practical way of asking yourself questions and answering them, or exploring oh my goodness, any of the any of the above tips that we just discussed more deeply. It can also help you keep track of any patterns that keep coming up in your life. Learning more about unhelpful patterns can play an essential part in the self-discovery process. When you know what doesn't work, you can begin repairing it. So what if like you don't like writing? That's okay. Just jot down. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you can keep like voice notes. Like But if you don't want to rehear them later,
Very helpful.
I don't know.
You can simply jot down whatever comes to mind. It can have the same benefit. If you're more artistically inclined, a sketch diary or another type of art journal can also help you explore your emotions and goals.
There you go.
Simply set pen to paper, envision your ideal future, and see what comes forward with that. You may also want to try the Tombstone Exercise. It's a technique used in psychotherapy. Me trying to speak Portuguese. Psicoterapia. It involves writing down what's most important to you and what you stand for, and essentially what you want to appear on your tombstone. Sounds terrible, but it works. I did that. I would like jot down lists of what I wanted. I also would do the drawing thing. Like I remember feeling a certain way, and I would go when I would travel. I would take a sketch pad with me, and I would draw a scene that I liked. Like I would sit there and just draw it with a bunch of other people. Like I thought I was gonna be the odd one out. Nope, you're there with like 7 other people. It's amazing.
Nice.
So when I look back in these pictures, I remember how I was feeling and who I was discovering myself as. And I don't know, I liked it. I want to keep doing that again.
Good. That's a good way to, that's something that would help you cope and help you not only cope, but help you find yourself, find who you really are. And if you're not really the type to write things down or to draw or anything like that, you can always talk to a therapist. When the process of self-discovery seems overwhelming and you don't know where to start, therapy can provide a safe space to get some compassionate guidance. You don't need to experience mental health symptoms to benefit from professional support. Therapists help people sort through a range of issues, including goals, clarification, career changes, and identity issues. Wanting to learn more about yourself may not seem like a matter significant enough for therapy, but if you feel distressed or uncertain, therapy can absolutely have benefit.
So essentially, at the end of the day, self-discovery of who you are looks different for everyone, but it's generally not something that happens overnight. I certainly did not take me overnight. I feel like it's an ongoing process with me because I change as a person constantly.
Yep.
But that's just me. Like maybe you're a different way. I don't know. But you do have somewhat of a jump start because you already know who you are a little bit, because it's kind of like getting to know someone else, right? It takes time and patience, but you kind of get the a little bit of an advantage because you kind of know who you are, right? So you're in charge of the journey, but don't feel afraid to meander off the main path. Sometimes you could just like leave, come back, leave, come back. The more ground you cover through self-exploration, the more you'll discover about yourself.
That is it for our podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it.
We would love to know your thoughts about our episode, so please feel free to leave us all the comments you'd like.
Yes, please subscribe, give us a like, a follow, and or a star rating. If you want to hear more episodes like this one, please follow us on every social media platform at Chatty Amigas.
Thank you so much for listening, Chiquis. We'll be back every Tuesday with the tea.
Bye.